Hi there, and welcome to my channel.
Hey, Uncle Kenny! Football! Hey, yeah!
If you're new here, my name is Cedric. I'm an actor, a filmmaker, a screenwriter, and a YouTube reactor. And I think Dimash Kudaibergen is the best singer in the world. It's true. It's been a bit since I've done a reaction to him. My last reaction, I believe, would have been Ave Maria, which came out right around Christmas time. What a beautiful performance. This man is absurd. Absurd. I was recently down in Virginia. I was the cinematographer on a movie, which was an adventure. It was fun. They got like 5 inches of snow in Virginia and the whole city shut down. Yesterday we got like 2 feet of snow here in Rhode Island, and I had to shovel it. So I'm really tired. Anyway, that's off. That's not the point. That's not why we're here. I was down in Virginia and we were driving to one of the sets, and I showed 2 of the actors in the sound mixer Stranger, and they were blown away. I mean, this guy, like, everyone I show him to is like dumbfounded, because what else can you be? Like, he is, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? I showed my grandma, I think his Ave Maria at Christmas. I showed her a couple of videos. She really likes him as well. He's just really good. And I really want to see him on Broadway. And I really want to be in a Broadway show with him. So can we make that happen? Dimash, if you want to be in any movies, man, let me know. I'll write something just for you. And we'll make it. You and me. We're going to make it. And it's going to be awesome. And I'm not joking. Like, if you're watching this, you know how to find me. I'm not that hard to find. I'm not that hard to contact. You make it happen. No, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. We'll do an action movie or drama or horror movie. Whatever you want to do. Let's make it. That's not the point. We're here to do an analysis. Let's do, I have no idea how to say this. IKANAIDE? IKANAIDE? I'm going to find out, I'm sure. It doesn't really matter how I try to pronounce it, because whatever it is, I'm going to be speechless by him, because it's him. Like, what are you going to do? I know nothing about this at all, apart from it being him. So I'm really excited. Apparently it's at a jazz festival. So maybe this is jazz, which I don't think I've ever heard him do, but he can sing every genre on the planet. So, like, am I even surprised at this point? No, I am not. Also, I got new bookshelves, y'all. Check that out. Because I got like 43 books for Christmas, which I have no idea what just happened to my voice. Everybody take a drink of water. Stay hydrated out there. Water's good. Thank you, bud. Before we jump in, I just wanted to say thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for making it possible for me to do my reactions and analyses, for me to write my screenplays, for me to shoot my auditions, and all the other things that I do. Thank you so much for just supporting me on this artistic journey. It's difficult in normal times, let alone in a pandemic. So your support means literally the world to me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's jump in. Dimash Kudaibergen, I'm just going to say IKANAIDE, the 20th Tokyo Jazz Festival. This is going to be outstanding. Let's do it. I don't have closed captioning for this, so. Cool, out of focus. Probably rack to him here. Yeah. Nice bass coming in there. Yeah, rack focus from the mic to him. Good. So look at the design of what we're seeing and then think about what you're hearing. A lot of squares, a lot of light playing from behind the squares. Everything is in this cream and gray palette. right? Kind of a muted tan and gray. His terrific sweater, which I want to own. Love that. It's got a texture to it. It's got a fold in. It's got this idea of almost hugging him, but there's a little bit of a suffocating feeling to it as well with his emotion. But think about that idea that it's kind of wrapped around his throat, but we can still see right here, right? We see all these squares with light playing around it. It gives, to a weird extent, the idea of breath and breathing, this whole thing. There's almost the idea of clouds that are behind him, the way the camera's moving and drifting. There's this sense of air to it. Now think about what you're hearing. He's vocalizing the breath. The breath is almost a character. I think about this like when I do auditions. Breath is what you don't say as an actor is as important as what you do. When you don't say, when you take a breath, when you pause. And he does this beautifully as a singer. So early on, he's doing this, and think about if I'm doing a monologue, think To Be or Not to Be, right? If I'm getting into To Be or Not to Be from Hamlet, which by the way, if you haven't seen The Tragedy of Macbeth with Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, watch it. Give that movie every award you can possibly find. It is incredible. Anyway, if I'm doing To Be or Not to Be and treating it like he does this song, you'd almost start with it going, to be or not to be. Right? To be or not to be. There's this crackling to it. There's breath pushing all the way through the phrase, and then the exhale is part of the sentence. And there's a real intimacy to that vocally because you find yourself being drawn into the breath of what he's saying. And breath is a huge part of life, you know? And so I think that's a beautiful note that he adds early on here. And it also exemplifies his control with how soft he's singing so far. The breath being a part of that shows just how finely tuned that voice is. See? See? Oh, come on. His control is wild. The way that he's adding power to it. Da da da. It's the reason that he's exhaling out loud early on. Part of the reason is that now he can maintain notes, so he can show you that he's not taking a breath, which is just an example of how hard he has worked to get his breath control, because he can hit a note and then pull it back until the note is gone. He can stop singing while still exhaling, right? So he's still pushing air out. He silences the note and then comes in on a different note in a different vowel on the same breath. And he's not doing this to just go, look what I can do. He never does that. I think sometimes when I say, oh, he's showing off, you think like that can come across a certain way that I don't mean it. There's always an artistic justification for what he's doing. For the point of this is there's the sense of flow and the sense of purposefulness and this intentionality to it where everything is connected. Look at all the squares. There's no square that isn't touching another square behind him. All of his movements are coming into another movement. I think every shot has faded into another shot. There's a sense of continuousness. Look at the sweater, the folds laying over each other. You can't really tell where the sweater stops, right? Everything has this idea of flow and continuity the whole time. And so his breath does the exact same thing. His physical performance, everything flows together. Each movement goes on to the next. The note stops, the breath continues, then the note picks back up somewhere else. It's all got an incredible flow and degree of control. And that's what makes him one of the most exciting artists to get to analyze, is because you never know what he's going to do, but you always know he's got a really good reason for it. And this is really, really impressive. Nice touch angle. Now we've gone handheld with it. It's a little bit more jittery. Good camera work. So did you notice that when they got to the chorus there, they stopped going with the handheld shots and started going back to that steady cam, the slow controlled movement? I was really intrigued when they were doing a lot of the handheld stuff. I think they're on a pretty wide lens. I would guess it's a 24mm lens, because if they were on a wider lens, a 14, it would get kind of a fishbowl. But if they were on a more tight lens, like a 35, maybe they would have had someone racking focus. But if you look at the background, the focus stays about the same the whole time. He's always in, the background is always a little bit out. So I think it's on a 24, but they were able to push in all the way past that microphone. So there's some really impressive, subtle technical things, like me as a filmmaker in camera op, and maybe it's because I just DP'd something, but that's where my brain is, that was really hard to do, and it created a really cool effect. And again, an idea of freshness and very in-the-moment-ness. But then as soon as we get back to these more elongated notes, elongated breaths, more controlled, we're back to that slower, more steady cam. Instead of moving the actual camera in, we're just going to punch to a different camera that's tight on him already. And I think the other reason that I believe it's on a wider lens is the mic seemed a lot further away from him than it is here. But this is all one performance. I don't think we're talking about multiple takes. Maybe we are. Maybe they did this in multiple takes. But I don't think they are. I think that it was just the lens choice and some careful cutting to different cameras. So that's really, really well done. And again, it underscores this incredible performance by him, because with that handheld, we can see his physical movement with it. And he doesn't have to get further away from the mic because he doesn't have a handheld here. So if he wants to get louder with it, he has to physically pull back and come back in because the mic is stationary. So normally you'll see him in live performances pull it away and back in. So this is a great way to allow him freedom of movement and still have vocal control while also having a condensed mic that's probably not going to get blown out during the performance no matter what he does. But there's a really nice technical and artistic song and dance here that's underneath the surface that is easy to miss unless you know what to look for. And he is doing an incredible job, as is whoever's directing this and whoever the sound mixer is. There's a really, really nice, really tight group of people working together here. It's really cool. His control. It's those little runs in this that are so impressive. Oh, come on! sorry to pause it there. I have to talk about the physical performance. So when he's way up there and when he's floating this, look at when I do, I have to really open up my chest, because if I'm here, it literally pinches the note off, because you have to, it takes so much air and control to be out like that I have to have my lungs fully open. His physical performance here, he's actually pulling his shoulders in at certain moments to create that pinched off effect, but then he flips to it being wide open while he's still in that position. So he has trained himself so well that he can do whatever he wants physically and still hit those notes with utter, complete control, and it sounds like a different human being, because that's how wide his range is. And then drop, what was that, at least 2 octaves, maybe 3, into this wonderful warm again, I don't know what exactly the note was, but a much more powerful tone in this lower range, like that. Incredible. And again, flipping to handheld there, technically speaking, it helps us as an audience lose control and just enjoy what he's doing vocally. Right? Because it really feels like he's making it up on the spot vocally because of the way the camera is moving. Of course, it's all very carefully choreographed and he's got complete total control and knows exactly what he's going to do. But because of his agility, the agility with the camera helps us live in the moment as an audience and as a viewer. And that is exactly what you want in a live performance between performer and the technical side of things. This is exactly that kind of literally song and dance to help marry intentions and keep us invested in what we're seeing. This is so good. Oh! Jeez. And now back to out of focus. Good gosh. Good gosh. Okay, watch this part again. This is just before like his last big jump. It sounds like he's going to take a breath before his final note. But what he does instead is go straight to that note and then cut it off sooner than you expect and then take not 1 but 2 breaths. So there's 3 quick surprises here between what you expect and what he's been doing, right? So check this out. That is ridiculous. Because again, he's surprising you with it, but and then he goes into the hums, and that's what he really wants to be the resolution. So he's kind of telling you this isn't the resolution. He has to get control back to himself, and then go into these wild. They don't sound as hard as they are to do what he does there, but right, like jumping all over. Low in his voice. You can kind of see him scrunch up a little bit here so he can get that lower tone because he's humming. Right? I can't do it. His range is absurd. But then that also physically helps with the sense of resolve. With that look in his eyes. He's got this really strong, resolute look in his eyes. It's a beautiful, understated, incredible open performance. I love this. Thank you so much for recommending it to me so much. He is I know I say this every video. I feel like I'm running out of things to even say about him, but he's just so good and so inventive. And he doesn't take things off. Like, he doesn't take a song off. Every single time he's pushing himself to say, how can I tell this story better? How can I better inform this audience on what I'm trying to say? How can I better invite them into my mind, into my experience with this, while also inviting their own experience into this, bring their own thing to the table. And that's a hard thing to do, and he does it with ease. And it's really admirable and really, really impressive. So I think that's all I've got on this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sure I'll see you on the next one. I can't wait. He is just, he just is. He's Dimash. I'll see you next time. Please take care of yourselves, drink lots of water, fix your posture, and be well.